and welcome to the Jamie and Stephen Show.
Hello.
Let's talk movies, music and magic with your hosts, Stephen and Jamie.
Hi.
Hi.
We're back.
We're back.
For another one.
For another one.
Yeah, so last week was...
Fantasia.
Yes. So far that's got the lowest score from both of us.
Yes. I mean, it might continue having the lowest score from me for a while.
Yeah.
But this week looks to be a bit more positive.
Yes.
Yes, we've got Dumbo.
Yeah.
So
Flying elephant.
The flying elephant. So, let's begin.
Yeah, synopsis.
Yes.
Like I always like to start off with. Again, IMDb.
Yes.
So, according to IMDb, the synopsis is... Ridiculed because of his enormous ears, a young circus elephant is assisted by a mouse to achieve his full potential. I think there's a lot missed out.
Child with big ears gets bullied by grown-ups.
Yes, I would say.
Synopsis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely. It's not. I mean, to be honest, does the mouse really do much in regards to that?
He has a feather.
I think he's just nice to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone has
encourages him.
Yeah.
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 It's the. I think it's the shortest.
Second shortest.
Oh, second shortest.
Yeah, so it's a misconception. The shortest one is Saludos Amigos.
Okay.
And can you guess how short, like, how long it is?
Oh, is it a minute shorter?
No.
30 seconds shorter? Oh.
No, it's 42 minutes in total.
Oh, really?
Yeah, whereas Dumbo's 64.
Yeah. Oh, I thought Saludos Amigos was longer.
No, apparently not.
Okay.
Like, that's really short for a film.
Yeah.
Like, really short.
So, obviously, I mean, we spoke about shorts last week.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that 43 minutes would not count as a short.
No, I suppose
so
not.
It must be maybe closer to the 30 mark then, that it would be counted as a short.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Although Saludos Amigos, there's all different.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, would that be classed as a full-length feature film? Because there's different bits put together to make a film. Bit like Fantasia, really. It's not like it's one long story.
No. Although it was very politically driven, shall we say.
Yes, yeah.
But we'll get on to that.
Yes, we will get to that
soon.
Yeah, so 64 minutes, literally just over an hour.
Yeah.
It cost $813,000 to make, which you can tell.
Yes, it is cheaper, yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely tell in regards to the animation on Pinocchio and Snow White. This is very, very different.
Well, that's the third of the budget for Pinocchio.
Yeah.
So literally scaled back. But it needed to earn a profit.
It made $2.5 million. Its opening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
I know.
Especially at that time.
Yeah, more than Pinocchio and Fantasia combined in their opening.
Understandable, though.
Yeah, well, this is 1941. We've still not gone to war with Japan yet.
Well, funny you should say that. It is... I can't remember which way round it was, but basically Pearl Harbor and Dumbo happened.
Yeah, so Dumbo was October, and then Pearl Harbor was December.
Oh, so yeah, basically just a few.
So it just managed to make money before they went to war. I forgot to find the worldwide overall, like as in from now.
Yeah.
So that was like when it first came out. So the first release.
Yeah. Which still isn't bad for a film of that time.
I think it's like the best one.
Yeah, that was it. It was re-released in 1949, so after the war.
After the war, yeah.
And became the most profitable film of the 40s for Disney.
Yeah, well, but it only costed $813,000, yeah. The cast, it's got a well-known cast.
Yes, definitely.
Maybe not well-known to younger generations, but to Disney fans and that time, I would say that these were probably like... I know they said that in Pinocchio and Snow White, there was actors in there that were well-known at the time, but I think these were definitely like superstars.
Yeah, I mean, the ones that got me was there's two names in this and it's their first films. And even if you don't know their names, we'll go on to them in a second, but you will be like, yes, yeah. And So you may not know their names in that respect, but they are Disney superstars.
Yeah.
Those voices are recognisable.
Yeah.
Throughout and for quite a long while as well.
So the two main ones I've got down, obviously, they're the cast. There is other cast members that are famous as well, but I think the two most famous, especially to Disney fans, is Sterling Holloway, who plays the stork.
Yes.
And Verna Felton.
Yes.
Who is the elephant.
Yes.
And she goes on to play Aunt Sarah in Lady and the Tramp. Is
yes,
it? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I do believe so.
And
She's the
Fairy Godmother.
Yes.
In which you couldn't believe
Cinderella,
because I mean she's so horrible in both Dumbo and Lady and the Tramp.
And in Alice in Wonderland.
Queen of Hearts.
She's the Queen of Hearts.
Yes. So yeah, a really famous voice.
Yeah.
You know, that is such a well-known voice, and to have that so early on.
Yeah. I mean, for me, looking at this era of Disney, she is one of the key players. So, like we've mentioned, Fairy Godmother, Queen of Hearts. She was also Flora in
Sleeping Beauty, fairies.
But she also continues over to the 60s with Winifred, is the elephant in The Jungle Book.
Oh, yeah.
Which actually means that her first contribution and her last contribution
were both elephants.
Were both elephants.
Oh, that's quite good.
So
that
really nice.
Yeah.
She's got some more links with Disney. Her husband was the original voice of Pluto.
Wow.
So very much a Disney link, but also this is because she is such a mainstay at this point of time in Disney. The fact that she died one day before Walt Disney, just
oh my God,
it was there. So her performance as Winifred would be posthumous.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was listed as Walt's last film, but yeah, she. So as far as I'm concerned, she's one of the key players.
Yeah.
Of this time.
Yeah, definitely.
And you mentioned Sterling Holloway.
Yes, Winnie the Pooh.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I mean.
Do you know any more?
I can't think.
No. Oh, we got the Cheshire Cat.
Oh yeah.
Alice in Wonderland. So again with Verna Felton. Car in The Jungle Book again.
Yes, of course.
Felton. The narrator in Make My Music and The Three Cavalieros. And he's the adult flower in Bambi.
So he is, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, oh my God. I don't know why I didn't write that down because obviously, well, we're coming up to Bambi.
Yes,
yeah, Bambi's next.
And I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name. Roquefort? He's the mouse in the Aristocats.
Oh, Roquefort.
Yeah.
Roquefort. Yeah, I think that's how you say it.
Well, closer than I'm going to get.
Yeah, I think it's Roquefort. But yeah. Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
They're just notable ones. He's in so much more.
Yeah, I'd say, you know, as a Disney fan, that's to me is probably the first film that I would say has famous voices.
Yeah, he definitely set up
superstar in terms of, you know, voice acting. You know, they did do films, you know, live action films as well, but.
Or one of them, one of the voices of the Crow, James Baskett, did live action. He was Uncle Remus.
Yes.
From the South.
Yeah, he was.
There was a big cast.
Yes.
We mentioned...
Considering the budget.
Yes. It's almost like as we see American Horror Stories over the last, say, decade, where it's the same cast. And he just swaps and changes them around. One of them, Ukulele Ike, Cliff Edwards, was the voice of Jiminy Cricket. And he plays the lead crow. Which, contrary to popular belief, is not called Joe Crow.
No, he's not.
He is not called that.
No. In terms of music, again, like the voices, I think, you know, like when I was rewatching it, it was literally like, oh my God, oh my God. And I forgot that I knew all the songs.
Yes.
And all of them are good. It wasn't that I forgot about the songs. It was just I forgot there was so many in such a short film.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, you know, obviously it opens up with Look Out for Mr. Stark, which, I mean, I love that scene. Seeing all the babies, you know, being given to their mums and their parents. and we've got probably... Oh, I don't know. It's hard. I mean, I don't know which one's the most famous, but we've got Casey Jr. next. You know...
Yeah, I mean...
Like, I even sing that when I'm on the Casey Jr. train in the park.
That's an admission.
Yeah. I am not embarrassed.
No.
I sing that song very proudly.
Yep.
We've got Elephants on Parade.
Now you see, I would say that was the most famous from
Really?
the film. Yeah, Elephants on Parade. Everyone just knows it.
I think they know it
As a concept.
yeah.
And I think that's, yeah.
And then Baby Be Mine.
Yeah.
Which is that is such a heartbreaking song. That I love that song. Even like especially now that I'm a mum, it really does choke me when Dumbo's sitting.
That whole scene.
Yeah, the whole scene.
Yeah.
That single tear.
Yeah.
When she wraps the trunk around his face.
Just for the fact that that's the only part. She can't even see him.
I know. But she feels him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she knows. Yeah.
It's like, right.
Yeah, and
Get
that song.
out.
Oh, and then we finish with. Could this be the most famous? When I See an Elephant Fly?
It would have been, but it's not been released on Disney albums
you
for
can't.
a number of years.
Yeah.
It's
Baby Be Mine that they push,
Yeah,
isn't it? That's the
it
one
is.
you'll find on a compilation.
Yeah.
You won't find When I See an Elephant
Not
Fly.
this side of the millennium, I don't think.
No, which is a shame because it's such a good song.
Yeah.
But I think that's obviously because of the
links. And
yeah.
It's such an unfortunate thing because, okay, the way those characters are played are a stereotype.
But we'll get to it.
Yeah.
We'll get to that bit.
Get to that.
Yeah. Because I've got a little bit about that. You've got a little bit about that.
That's
So
a whole segment.
So you've got loads of facts.
Yes, I do.
I've got a few, but nowhere near as you.
Well, I'll start. We've mentioned music, so I'll continue with music for a bit. So, the score, which was written by Oliver Wallace and Frank Churchill, it was actually the only Oscar win for Oliver Wallace, which is surprising actually because he worked on Pinocchio, Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, and Lady and the Tramp. And he also voiced Mr. Winky in Ichabod and Mr. Toad. To which he also...
Oh, the pub. The guy that runs the pub.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
And he also wrote the score for that as well.
Ah!
So literally he is one of a name of that period. I think when you kind of talk about Disney musicians, songwriters, you've got the two brothers.
Yeah, Sherman.
The Sherman
brothers.
But he was kind of just before that.
Yeah, they don't come till a bit later.
No, yeah. So the other guy, so Frank Churchill, it's a bit of a sad story. But basically he worked on Snow White and Dumbo, obviously. And also did a song for Peter Pan, but it was deleted. It wasn't
used.
Yeah. But yeah, shortly around that time in the 50s, he had lost two close friends within a month.
Oh.
He had had a disagreement with Walt Disney, and he unfortunately committed suicide.
Oh my god.
So he went through a really, really rough time.
Yeah.
And it's just from this point, you know, even comparing the two, you've got Oliver Wallace, who went on to write so much, and then you've got Frank Churchill, who didn't.
Yeah.
It just shows what could have been.
Yeah, they could have been, you know, Howard and Mencken.
Yeah.
You know, it could have been the Sherman, the Sherman brothers might not have happened if these two had continued working together.
And that's what was so sad.
Yeah.
I think Pink Elephants as a concept is the biggest thing. They've done spoofs of that on Bob's Burgers, South Park, Bugs Bunny. Disney has also got in the act, so they did a spoof of it in Mickey's House of Mouse. And also Winnie the Pooh's Heffalumps and Muzzles.
Yes.
It's a spoof.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's definitely, we're going to make a nod to that, yeah.
One of the things was, people keep saying that it was originally made for Fantasia. Absolutely no evidence whatsoever for that.
Oh, what, the Pink Elephants?
Yeah, there's nothing. The music, the animation, none of it.
Could have been better than a couple of the segments they did use, to be honest.
It is a shame, but there is no evidence. One of the things as well around that is Howard Swift, who animated that whole section.
Oh, wow.
He did the whole thing. So at the time, the average animator would do roughly about 20 foot a week. Can you guess how much he did in a week whilst he was working on Pink Elephants on Parade?
25?
100. He literally worked non-stop on
Oh my God. Did he go to sleep?
He created his own way where he'd literally do the first bit, storyboard the next, and then copy it.
Okay.
He would literally just... It was like a machine.
Wow.
That's the main bits with the
I think knowing that it was one person as well kind of makes that scene even more huge.
But isn't it weird how, like in Fantasia, we weren't keen on the dinosaurs, which...
Yeah, that was also one person.
And yet in this, it's one person. But I suppose it's because he's characterised the whole thing. His characters.
Yeah, they're
designed
cartoony, whereas the dinosaurs, like, they were trying to make them look like they were real.
Yeah.
Instead of Disney-fied.
The whole thing, the whole film was the conception, the illustration, the planning, the designing, the voice recording, and the release all happened in the time it took to make Bambi. It was just 2 years.
Right, okay.
So Bambi was still being animated before and after.
Right, okay.
Dumbo.
Yeah.
And Dumbo just went through, I say, quite quick.
Yeah. Well, I actually found out a little story about these names, obviously, we know, because we've spoke about these two guys in the previous films. So this is about Dumbo being put to Walt Disney.
Ah, yes.
So originally he wasn't interested, but storymen Joe Grant and Dick Humer, who were the story people for Fantasia, they wrote up the film as installments. And they would leave it on Walt's desk every morning until finally Walt wanted to know more and was quoted as saying, "This is great, what happens next?" Yeah. So I would love to know what storyboards they down.
Well, I think one of the unfortunate things with Dumbo is you may never know.
No.
Because it was so quickly done. I mean, even where the story came from, you've got 3 different versions.
Yeah, yeah.
There is one which is the most likely, and there's evidence behind it. There's another one which is also quite likely, but there's no evidence.
Okay.
The first one is based on a picture book and was written by Helen Aberson. She wrote the book, it was a roller book, rock and roller book or something like that. And basically it was on a tube and you rolled it and you could read it.
Okay.
It was illustrated by her husband, Harold Pearl. They were married and divorced very quickly, 2 years. And he claims that he wrote it. And she claims she wrote it.
Oh.
Now...
So it's like those big eyes painting.
Yes.
The wife did it, but the husband took the credit.
Yeah. Well, he passed away many years before she did. So his version of events kind of ended there.
Right,
and she continued to say that
it was her that wrote the book.
It till the end. Okay. So actually what happened...
And what was their story called?
Just Dumbo.
Oh, okay. But it wasn't the same story?
It was similar.
Oh, okay.
It was basically an elephant had the larger ears and it was just about the adventure that he went on.
Okay.
The evidence behind that is there's an actual book.
Yeah, yeah.
The other one is, which is probably the one that Disney fans know a bit more, Joe Grant and Dick Humer. Dick Humer said that he saw Joe Grant reading a comic strip on the back of a cereal box. And Joe Grant said that he saw Dick Humer read the comic strip on the back of the cereal box. I've never seen a copy of any cereal box to have that on, but they were not uncommon at the time. There were stories on the back, much as we see cartoon strips in newspapers.
Yeah.
Now,
so they're claiming that book, a part of that book was on the back of a cereal box.
And that's where they saw it, and that's where they developed the idea.
Right.
And then, as you say, they'd leave sections on Walt's desk, and it's like, what's next?
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised he wasn't originally interested because the whole concept of doing a setting in a circus, I mean, all those colours and the animals, and I'm surprised he wasn't into that.
I think it's because the book was released very, very close to the film.
Yeah.
So it was almost... Book was released,
and
rights were bought, film was made, film was out. It was very much bang, bang, bang. So he probably just never heard of the book before and probably thought, well, this is just a one-off book that came out the other week.
Maybe because of it being
it's a picture book.
Yeah,
it's not
for little
tale.
kids. Yeah, maybe he thought, I'm not going to get grown-ups to sit and watch a film like this.
No, so...
Well, thanks to, obviously, Joe and Dick.
Yeah.
It did get made.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And as we said, on a pittance of a budget.
Oh, God, yeah.
Absolute pittance.
But that wasn't that to do with that the strikes happened during that time.
So Walt Disney, not a petty man whatsoever, basically they designed the clowns on the people who led the strikes.
Yeah. I know that he was hurt by the strikes.
Yeah.
I think it was in that 2-part documentary that came out not so very long ago.
Yeah, I think it's all good to know which side to be on.
I know,
to be honest.
Especially when we're going through so many strikes now.
Yes.
And even though I'm not personally any of those jobs that have gone on strike, I know people who are in those jobs, and I do believe in fair pay and fair pension. You know, it's not just about pay, it's about healthcare and pension. And I don't know the exact specifics to why the animators were on strike, but based on what I know on how they were treated at that time, I can well imagine that they were definitely taken advantage of, especially when the Depression, we spoke about that, didn't we?
Yeah, so the Depression happened.
And Walt had jobs.
Yeah.
And I think he took advantage of the fact that people were desperate for a job and paid them.
I know it was definitely a payment issue.
Yeah.
Just to plug something, if you've read any of Jim Corcus' books, he touches on that.
Okay.
He's a big Disney fan, so he does kind of look at it through Disney's eyes, but he's very fair in the way that he describes it and detailed as well.
Yeah,
so you can make your own idea. You mind up from that.
Well, you've lent me those books, so I'll hopefully read that soon. Yeah, I mean, I remember when it's spoken about in that documentary, I mean, they focus very much on how upset Walt was because he felt that he had a family relationship. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And apparently he demanded his secretary separate the CVs of those that went on strike and those who didn't.
Oh,
yeah, and he had 2 piles. Now, nothing ever came of that, but she went on record at some point saying, yes, he was so upset that I had to go through everyone's CV and I had to separate those who were on strike, and then we had a pile of those that went on strike and those that didn't.
Yeah, and I know it very much was his... He felt betrayed.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, he should have paid them what they were worth. So
I know.
It's very...
Especially with what we've seen already. Yeah. And they're only on their 4th film.
Yeah.
And yet, we're not even counting the shorts.
No.
And the things as well that he got them to do on the side. I mean, because there's an animator that helps with designing the parks.
Yeah.
Very, very early on. Yeah.
Is it Mark Platt?
Or is it Davis?
Mark Davis.
Mark Davis.
Yes.
And then, I think somebody helped with his house.
Yes. Yeah.
The train.
Yeah.
The train that he had built, I think an animator was... So, he used them for other things.
Yeah.
So, that's another reason why the budget was so low, because...
Yeah.
And as well, you can tell by the quality of the animation. Luckily, the story is strong, where the animation is not.
I think
You can see past it.
Yeah.
Because the story's so good and the music's good and the characters are good.
Yeah.
You see past the low quality in...
See, for me, I grew up watching Dumbo with all the others. So the quality of Dumbo was the same as, to me, Robin Hood.
Okay.
And I actually didn't like the animation of 101 Dalmatians and the Aristocats and that period. It was very scratchier.
Yeah.
So actually having Dumbo at that time, where it was a lot cleaner...
Oh, I mean, there's like hardly any shadow and highlight work.
No. But it was very bright. It was very...
bold colours.
Yeah. And I didn't mind that.
It's basic shapes.
Yes.
You can clearly see the circles and squares. You know, it's that.
Very, very
But it's
basic.
nice. I mean, I love the artwork that's used for the credits. That, where you've got the clown's face, the curtain of the tent open, and then you see... I love that. Yeah, there is definitely a noticeable difference.
I mean, you put that next to any film that came before it, and you put it next to
what comes after. I mean, Bambi.
It's
you can see that obviously with how long it was taking Bambi as well, the money was clearly going into that film. First to be set in America.
Yes.
And only one of a handful that was. I mean, the other one that comes to mind is Princess and the Frog.
I was going to say, Princess and the Frog is America. Where's The Rescuers set?
Oh, yeah. New York.
New York. And Oliver and Company.
Yeah.
But they're obviously a lot later than this.
Yeah.
Where's Lady and the Tramp set? Is that England?
New England.
New England.
So, yeah. So we've got 5 there.
5, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't think of any more, though.
No. The rest are like fairy tale legend. I mean, Aristocats is France.
It's
Europe.
Basically.
Yeah. Obviously, Saludos Amigos, Three Caballeros, that's South America.
Yeah, I think that's because of the reason they were made.
Yeah, which we'll get to in a few weeks, so you'll have to stay tuned.
Yes.
And keep listening.
So, first film, as you say, to be set in the US. It's also the first film to be set contemporary.
Yeah.
1941.
Yeah.
And it has, in the newspaper prints, obviously it's got the date on there.
Yeah.
Also has actual things that are going on in the war.
Okay.
They're made to look like real newspaper.
Yeah.
Not necessarily true events.
No.
Based on those events or what was happening. After that, I think the next one, which is based on the actual time that it was out. When is the next one? Would it be Oliver and Company?
I would say so. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because
not counting Salute.
Princess and the Frog is
30s.
20s, 30s, the Depression era.
Yeah. So probably Oliver and Company, and then even after that.
Rescuers.
Oh yeah.
Rescuers.
Yeah. Yes.
So the Rescuers and Oliver Company are probably the next 2.
Yeah.
After Dumbo, and then obviously you get to Bolt.
101 Dalmatians.
Oh yeah. No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Really? That doesn't look 60s.
Well, it's awkward.
It's like 40s.
There's a newspaper print.
Oh, is there?
In the film, and it's 1959.
Oh, I would have said it was like
61.
post-war, like 45, 46.
Oh, no. 59.
But, wow.
Apparently. Yeah.
Okay.
And the book was only a few years before that as well. Anyway,
we'll get to that.
Yeah,
I know. Before I forget, and apparently this was always, people always got this wrong, but Dumbo was actually the first to be released on video. But people always confuse it with Pinocchio.
Yes. So the reason why it was the first is because it was the right length.
Yeah. You wouldn't need 2 videos.
No. Simple as, because the original videos, I think they could hold about 75 minutes.
Yeah.
So it didn't need editing, it just went straight on. So yeah, one of the very first.
Back in the day.
Actually, one of the things about that is it's one of the longest films ever, for the longest time, to never be out of print. So since that very first video came out...
Oh, you've always been able to get it?
Always.
It didn't, go away?
No, and even if it did, it came out on a different format or different. It just never went.
Oh wow! So that was always
print.
one that
Still now
didn't go in the vault.
Didn't go in the vault, but it's not just Disney. That's just film wise.
Wow!
So,
I never knew that. The name of the circus. Did you get this?
Walt Disney production.
Yes. Yeah. WDP Circus. And you mentioned about the novel, the original book. Apparently, there wasn't a mouse. It was a robin, which I find weird.
Yeah.
Because the way that it's done in the film, you know, that the bigger elephant is afraid of him, but yet Dumbo isn't. I mean, I love that. I know, obviously, in the original story...
That set up the myth? For some reason, I've got it in my head that set up the myth that elephants are scared of mice.
Oh, I thought it was because of that myth that they put it in.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Catch us on Threads, Instagram.
Let us know if you know the history of why elephants are afraid of mice.
Yeah.
So, are we going to get to the elephant in the room?
The big elephant in the room. Well, just before.
Okay.
I've got one final fact.
Right.
I don't know the reason behind it. But obviously we know it was released in the US in 1941, but it had to wait 45 years before it was released in China. It's 1986.
Oh, I wonder why.
Yeah, don't know.
That's weird.
I think it's something to do with the fact that it was around the wartime and
maybe.
It just missed the boat a little bit.
Maybe.
And by the time that they'd caught up, it was like, oh, it's on video, why not put it out?
Yeah.
On cinema, don't know.
Very strange.
But yes, the elephant in the room.
Yes, literally the elephant in the room. So the crows. So I found a little thing to do with the crows. Now, I didn't really hear much about the whole issue with the crows until I came back to the UK.
Oh, okay.
Before that, I'd never heard of any issues. So the whole political, whole political correctness thing, and same with, I wasn't aware of the whole Song of the South thing again until I was older.
Yeah.
Because I had it on video, because you could get it on video here.
Yeah.
So I was unaware of the issue, you know, across the Atlantic with that film, and as I'm an adult, all these things I'm reading about, our friend Jess did a whole thesis on it, didn't she?
She did, yes.
About all these issues that now people are realising are issues, but at the time that they were made, they weren't, or they were ignored.
Yeah.
So the crows... This is I've gotten this because obviously I don't want to get into trouble. But this is from, again, IMDb, and it's out of their trivia
section.
Yes, which I am terrible for going on to. Like,
I'll be just finding out who was in. Oh,
when I'm watching a film or a TV show, I am straight on IMDb looking up all the facts. I'll even go to individual web episodes to find facts about that episode. If it's an episode I think there must be something to do with that.
I always look for cast members. So say if we're watching Will and Grace and it's like, I know them from somewhere.
Yes. Or why do I recognise that voice?
Yeah.
Where do I know that voice from? And I'm straight on IMDb. So obviously I found this. So according to IMDb's trivia page for Dumbo, there is some controversy about the crows of the film, who are meant to represent African Americans, or at least entertainers of the time. While the association of African Americans and crows, both black, predates the film, there are film historians like Richard Schickel who pointed it out first, as a white man ironically, as offensive and / or racist. There are those who find their portrayals positive and progressive. Most of the crows were voiced by African American actors and portrayed in live action during the animation process by African American dancers, Freddie and Eugene Jackson, in an era which there was limited casting potential for them, and the crows are actually among the few friendly and intelligent characters in the film, and also free-spirited, not to mention their central and fundamental role to the plot. So, I am more towards the latter half of this trivia. I don't see them as a stereotype.
Whoopi Goldberg would agree with you.
Okay, good.
We
love Whoopi.
She very much says, do you know what? It's an integral part of the film. They're good characters.
Yeah.
There are worse stereotypes.
Yeah. It's just a shame that obviously when you relate to African Americans and the crow word,
yes,
the Jim Crow thing comes up, and that's where I can see why people were like, no, this is not good.
I mean, the name Joe Crow is not mentioned in the film.
No.
That's one of the key things.
Yeah.
It's not mentioned. And yes, they are a positive character. I mean, I don't know enough. I'm not going to lie, I do not know enough. If there were people like that at the time who would have been following circuses or anything, regardless of skin colour or anything, if there were those kinds of characters, then I can understand why they were there. Mm-hmm. But I didn't link the two.
No.
I didn't link the two, whether that's my failing or whether that is just because the connection isn't as strong. I don't know. Yeah,
I think obviously it's probably based on our bringing up, our education, like that. Those things weren't. I didn't learn about anything like that in school.
No, I mean the only thing that I could say that could kind of be linked up was we had in the UK the black and white minstrel show. Mm-hmm. Stereotypical. Blackface.
Yeah, there was the dolls.
Yeah, and it just.
And I think you could still get them up until quite recently, like.
Yeah, I think it was. Could even have been the 90s.
I mean, even I remember seeing them in the 90s when I was a kid. Although I didn't know when I was a kid the negative.
No. They were just like.
To me, they were just another, they were a toy-like thing.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they came from anything.
No.
I just thought they were one of those, like
a cowboy doll.
Yeah, or
it's just a
do you remember those, the clowns, and, people had the clown jugs?
Oh, yeah.
To me, it was like that. It was like... I would see it in somebody's house, but to me it was like, oh, so they're into that instead of the clown jug.
Yeah.
Or remember the mime, what were they called? That French, where she had the frilly neck thing. Was that like a type of clown or a mime?
Oh,
you know what I mean, don't you?
I know what you mean, yeah.
And she had the black thing covering her hair.
Yes.
And that was very pale artwork, and you could get the doll or the paintings. Again,
it was just...
It was a 90s thing, and I just thought but obviously now I'm well aware of the whole minstrel thing.
I wonder if it's, again, don't sue me. The film obviously made at that time, and the racist connections, maybe we've just outgrown that whole era.
Yeah.
Which is a positive thing.
Of course.
Because it's we've just outgrown
progressed.
it. We've just, and whether or not that's the way we should look at it in 2023, I'm not sure. I mean, the film, the way they're portrayed in the film, they are nice characters. They're the only ones who are nice to Dumbo,
apart from the mouse. And the fact is, they needed some form of bird animal.
Yeah.
Because it's all about the magic feather and being up in the tree. So to make that whole thing, and obviously where it's set, crows must have been one of the birds that were popular in that area. And
could you have said pigeon? Would we have made the film being a pigeon now? Or
I know, but then they wouldn't have been as good as in, I think the fact that they have
crows have the long beak.
Yes,
funky legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the way that they're drawn, they are really appealing to look at. Like you like these characters. Could you do the same with a pigeon? No.
No.
Because they've got those little heads.
Yeah.
You know, and a little beak.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think
well,
I'm knowledgeable enough to know the answer.
And obviously we're
reviewing these films
and
80 years on.
I know. And obviously, you know, when we watched them when we were kids, I can say honestly that, you know, those sorts of things never really
entered your mind.
No. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things, and this is what I think Whoopi Goldberg leans on, and I think it also what the little warning that happens at the beginning of the film leans on, is here we are, we're talking about this now.
Yeah.
We're talking about what we noticed, how we've grown up, what we've learned, you know, and without having that segment in the film, we couldn't sit here and talk about the right and wrong of that. So I'm definitely in favour of it remaining in the film. Yeah. So people can view it. Be interested to know whether like kids now make that link.
Yeah. Well, I only made the link based on hearing of other people commenting on it. And now when you look into the movie and you look into the trivia and the history of the film, it's now there.
Yes.
But like my mom growing up, I mean, she was she likes her general knowledge. She watches a lot of she loves documentaries, she loves that sort of thing, and I think I get that from her. Yeah. And I think she would have, if she'd have heard anything like that when I was a kid, she would have probably talked to me about it, I think. Because she would have loved to have found out new information and wanted to tell somebody. Yeah. And because as well, I watched the Disney films so much, I think she would have. But even in the 90s, it wasn't not here anyway. No, it could have been in America. We don't know. Yeah. But here in the UK, when I was growing up, it definitely had not become a thing that people talked about.
I think it's because in the UK, the changes, although are still happening, we were always just that little bit ahead.
And I think it was different.
So World War II here, there would be American soldiers who would say, get him out of the bar.
Yes, even though we didn't do that.
But
or
in the
we
UK,
didn't have that
it was
segregation.
Like, whoa, hang on, no, we don't do that.
Yeah.
And the integration, although not by any means perfect, it was more advanced than where America saw themselves at that time.
At that time, yeah.
Which is when this film was being made. You know, we have 12 months later, America's in the war, America over here in the UK. It's, you know, we're not talking, oh, well, this happened 1 year and 10 years later, this is that. The evidence is that the negativity was brought over. And it wasn't perfect here by no means, but that kind of negativity wasn't as strong.
No, not that well.
And I think in the UK, as we've gone on and on and on, the fact that in the 50s in America there was still segregation. Yeah. Rosa Parks. Yeah. Martin Luther King. Yeah. But here in the UK, although there was different talks.
Yeah, and different issues.
Obviously, we'd welcomed a load of people from the Commonwealth into the country.
Although, the whole Windrush thing. I mean, that's a whole issue on its own, which is obviously not.
We have a different history to America. Yeah. And I think.
And obviously, our history with the Crow relation isn't the same.
No.
Because Jim Crow wasn't here. That was in America.
We
So
had,
again, that could be why as well. We didn't
Yeah.
link
No.
the two.
No.
Of
So that's probably something we'll leave to the Americans.
course, because
to
they obviously
discuss
know
further.
it. Yeah.
But actually, one thing that I found was the issue of a drunk Dumbo in the film was brought up long before The Crows.
Oh my God.
And that was throughout the world. That wasn't so the fact that it's because it's a child getting drunk.
I know.
So,
But it's so funny when he hiccups.
yeah,
Yeah, and the bubbles come out, and then obviously
Yeah.
that's when the whole elephants on parade comes, because the
Yeah.
bubbles form into the elephants.
well,
and
he's got no mum to look after
I
him.
know. Exactly. I think that.
He gets into that
Yeah.
purely. I mean, it's to build on that sadness. And,
Yeah.
you know, what is the worst thing that could happen to him at that point?
Yeah.
And it's, well, his mum's going to die. His
Yeah.
drink gets spiked, and then does he meet his mum before that or after?
It's before because
before.
he's sad,
Yes, and then obviously
and he has the drink.
and then
Because it's when he wakes up from the dream of the elephants on parade is when he's in the tree.
he's at the top of the
Yeah.
tree.
So, have we done the facts?
And the facts about the film, I've got loads of hidden Mickeys and things.
Okay.
But, I mean, do you want
Give us
to
a couple.
give you
I
a
don't have
couple?
any more
No?
facts.
Okay.
So give us a couple of hidden Mickeys.
So Dumbo appears in Basil the Great Mouse Detective.
Does he?
Yeah, he's a little bubble toy.
Yes!
He also appears as a toy in Lilo and Stitch.
Does he?
Yeah, he's on the easel.
No, don't remember that.
Oh, he's there. He's in Ralph Breaks the Internet, which everyone else is, so why not?
Oh, okay.
He appears twice in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yes, because he's
Yes.
at the end as well. I remember that. And he flies out at the window.
Yes.
Yeah, and they shut the blinds. Yeah.
And there's a clip from Dumbo featured on Weibo, which is the little machine
In
thing
Flubber.
voiced by Jodie Benson.
Yes,
Ariel.
Ariel.
And also he appears as a shadow in Lion King 3.
Okay, random.
Yeah.
Yeah, although that is a good one. I
Really?
do like
No, I've
Lion
only
King
seen
3.
The second one and the
Oh,
first
Lion
one,
King 3
obviously.
actually is funny.
So-
I've recently watched that with Finn, and Finn
Oh,
liked
okay.
it. Yeah, it's funny.
I couldn't quite get into. I like the TV series, and I know it's
Yes.
more of that. So maybe I'll give it another watch.
Okay. So they were like where Dumbo's also featured.
Yeah. Not necessarily any hidden Mickeys in the Dumbo film. Other
No, I
than
don't think
you've
they did
already
it that
covered
time.
The circus.
Unless,
called
yeah,
Walt Disney. They were the kind of things
Yeah,
that were getting hidden.
yeah.
The words,
by the animators. Yeah,
They'll
names.
Disney backwards and
Yeah.
Fantasia and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it was different.
So when you watched the film, what did you think?
It's charming.
Yeah.
It's a lovely film. And do you know what? It could be released. I know they did release a version.
Oh God.
But that film with tweaks could be released now. As
Yeah.
a cartoon, as Disney animated or Pixar, and it would still work. No, I really enjoyed Dumbo.
Yeah, I think considering the low budget, the low quality of animation in comparison to what had previously come out,
Yeah.
this is the best one so far,
Yeah.
I think. And yeah, it has, considering it's only an hour as well,
Yeah.
it's a strong story. I think it was the perfect length.
Well, Walt was told to cut it by RKO Pictures.
Really? Why?
They said you either need to add more on, and make it into a film length, or you need to cut it. There was no way we can put this out as an A movie. And Walt went, no.
Yeah, no, it didn't need to be longer.
Literally stood by his
Yeah.
guns, and it was released at this
good.
length. And there we are.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm glad because, yeah, it didn't need to be longer.
No.
I don't remember asking my mum about the whole stork thing.
No.
But it's such a nice,
Yeah.
especially with animals as well, the idea of the stork bringing the babies, and I just love that opening scene. And I always loved seeing the cubs and, you know, all going
all
to
the
their
different-
parent. Yeah, I love that. And the way that they did it, you know, like, and you see in, like, the hippos sleeping
Yeah,
together
all
in the
little-
bubbles.
yeah.
And then, like, the baby giraffe's head just not trying
Yeah,
to
just
pop out, you know, of the hole when they're,
Yeah.
you know. And I think it's a nice... I still like the whole stork
Yeah, it's just, it's...
thing, you know, to...
Yeah.
I've not said that to my boys, although luckily I've not been asked yet. But I know it's coming soon because they are at that age.
Yeah. Just tell them the stork brought them. Put on Dumbo and say,
I don't
well,
think you'll believe me. I really don't. I can't see it.
you need people to back you up. That's
Yeah,
what you need.
yeah. Well, we'll see when the day comes and I do get
The
asked.
Jamie and Stephen show, sponsored by tricking children into believing the stork brought them.
But yeah, lovely. And, you know, I, as a kid, I can't remember if I believed it in regards to humans, but I certainly like the idea of the animals being brought by a stork.
Yeah. I don't think I didn't believe it, but I'm not convinced that that's what I thought what was happening.
Yeah.
I just didn't know.
No.
And I don't think I did know for quite a while. Still don't, technically.
The whole thing with Dumbo's ears. Now, this really gets to me. It's such a good, what do you call it, when you're trying to say something else but you use something, metaphor. Such a good metaphor or an example to use for, you know, somebody looking different and other people being nasty and discriminating, being a bigot,
Well, the whole thing is, I can't remember which
being
way round it
arrogant.
is, but the whole thing is, I think the mum is an Indian elephant, and Dumbo is an
African elephant,
with
yeah,
bigger ears.
yeah.
So I think it's just a case of, well,
Okay, it then goes into if you really want to get into it, it goes into a deeper issue that the stork didn't do a very good job. Because there's
Well, there is
clearly an
that.
African elephant
Yeah,
mom
there is
somewhere
that.
who has an Indian elephant baby.
tiny ears that can't fly. There is that.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
If that happened now, there'd be a complaint, a lawsuit, like negative review.
I'm never using that stork delivery service again.
Yeah, that was a bad Uber.
Yeah, when, you know, he obviously is revealed when the sack opens and
Yeah.
the elephants are like, oh, and then he sneezes.
Yeah. And it's like,
And then it's like, oh my God, you know, and they're so horrible. And they are very much that stereotype, gossipy, cliquey, older ladies.
do you know what? I don't actually think the ringmaster is the villain. I think it's the leader.
Yeah,
of
it's
them. She doesn't have a name.
I mean, the worst bit is when they,
Shun. Just, yeah.
it's awful.
It's a child.
When Timothy sees what they do and then, and he
Yeah.
says, and he ends up scaring them.
he has the last laugh.
Yeah, because he scares them.
Yeah. So, well, I mean Dumbo.
Yeah, of course.
He's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Me fancy train.
Yeah. But yeah, and then, you know, obviously we move on to when they're living their circus life and they're putting him on show and the kid blows in his ear. I mean, oh my God, I don't think the spanking was hard enough, to be fair.
No.
But yeah, that's awful. I used to hate that bit when I was a kid.
It's cruel. It's just cruel. And well, we talk about the quality in the animation and the quality of the story, but we're sat here talking about how this cartoon flying elephant makes us feel.
Yeah.
And it just shows you the power of the storytelling, whether it comes from a fairy tale, a book, a picture book. You know, it just shows you the depth and, you know,
and the unkindness of human beings and, well, animals.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the unkindness and the fact that, you know, it's so much worse now. We've not progressed at all in regards to that. Especially because we have social media.
Yeah,
and
if anything, you've just got a bigger group of elephants.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad the ringmaster and the clowns didn't get a bigger part, that they were in the background.
Yeah.
Because they're probably the weakest.
Yeah, they're just...
And I'm so glad that you literally
Yeah.
just see short bits of them.
Yeah.
Even though clowns are such a big thing in a circus.
Yeah.
They didn't need to be big in this.
I didn't like the humans interfering with the animals.
No.
I don't mean that in a weird way. I just mean this is a film about animals.
Yeah, keep the humans in the background. Yeah.
Yeah, and I prefer that in all of those kind of films, you know, where you focus on the animals.
Yes.
Lady and the Tramp kind of
Yes,
thing.
agreed.
Focus on the animals.
Yeah. I love all the songs.
Definitely the songs. What about the ride?
The Dumbo ride.
The Dumbo ride.
Don't get me wrong, it goes quite fast. Like,
Well, it's a kid's ride.
Well, yeah. But yeah, we were on it in the summer when we were there in July. Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, Finlay loves the whole going up and down.
Yeah.
So at least you've got that.
Yeah.
You know, you can control the up and down.
Yeah.
I think when it's kept on top of in terms of the paint job
Yes.
and the cleanliness,
Yes.
it's a lovely ride to look at.
Yeah.
Like all the Dumbos are a different colour, you know, the different coloured hats.
Yeah.
And
Not meant to be.
Timothy being... Oh, were they not?
Not meant to be Dumbo. They're meant to be pink. The pink elephants on parade.
Well, but they look like
just the
Dumbo.
different colours. Well,
But
they've
yeah, they
just
look
changed.
like- oh,
to
right.
Dumbo, but yeah.
And then you've got obviously Timothy at the centre on top of the...
Yeah.
You know...
Again, not meant to be Timothy.
Oh.
It was meant to be Dumbo in the middle. And
Oh, so
the
Dumbo was
elephants
supposed to be...
going around
Oh,
him.
right. Yeah. See, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than 20 Dumbos.
But yeah, I mean, would I queue an hour to go on it? No.
No.
I would queue to go on it over the Peter Pan ride. Hashtag no hate.
Well, the reason why I asked is because for me, we've been talking about it, and the best review that I can give this film is just the legacy behind it.
Yeah.
Because there is the Dumbo ride. It is one of the most well-known rides
Mm-hmm.
in the Disney parks.
It's central in Fantasyland.
It's I mean, the original in California, it opened a month after the park opened.
Okay.
But at every other park, it's been on opening day.
Yeah.
It's an opening attraction. Just as quick facts, the original one had 10 elephants rather than 16. And the original one goes anti-clockwise, whereas all the others go clockwise.
Never knew that.
Yeah. Don't know why.
But aren't you going to experience the
Yes,
original one
yes,
very soon?
I am, yes.
Yes,
So I'll
so-
let you know if it makes a difference.
Okay.
The other thing is there's a big-eared octopus named after him.
Okay.
Because it's an octopus with big ears.
Didn't even know they had ears, but yeah.
No, I didn't. I've not seen a picture either. And the thing that got me, and I think it's cheating a bit, but there is a district in New York City named after him. And it's not called Dumbo. It's called Down Under the Manhattan Bridge Overpass.
Oh,
D-U-M-B-O.
okay.
And it's just the fact that because this comparatively cheap
Yeah.
film that was quickly made just to recoup some costs from these big, extravagant, artistic driven pieces, and yet I would say that this is a more famous film and has a better legacy than anything that came before it, including Snow White.
Yeah, I think the only reason that obviously Snow White is known simply because it's the first.
Yeah.
In regards to story and the characters, it's not that strong. And in comparison,
Yeah.
yes, I'm talking about
Yeah.
Snow White. And then in comparison, then we get 3 more films, and then, you know, we've got Dumbo.
2 more.
2 more films and
Yeah,
then
then
Dumbo.
Dumbo,
So, yeah, the 4th film, finally, I think it's like story has
Yeah.
become the strong point over the animation. And I
Yeah.
get that obviously the animation would have been number 1 to him because he was trying to prove that animation could be feature-length film. Whereas Dumbo, not being the traditional feature-length running time, and having the least amount of money to spend, made during a very difficult time, released just before America gets thrown into the war, and yet it's definitely the better one so far.
Yeah.
And the stronger one. And like you say, it's charming. It's also got memorable songs you can sing along to.
Yeah.
And a touching film.
Yeah. It's
like
the emotion.
Oh.
You know, for a character that doesn't speak,
yeah,
the odd hiccup, it's, you know, you care for that that character.
And once again, like you've just pointed out, a non-vocal character, you know, they are very common. We've had Dopey, we've had Mickey in the Sorcerer's Apprentice. He doesn't speak in that.
Gideon the cat in
I wouldn't say he's a memorable, but
he's been there.
Yeah,
we know who
but
he
as
is.
a memorable character, you know, they're good at that.
Yeah.
Figaro.
Figaro is a better example.
Figaro, yeah.
You know.
But yeah, I mean, I watched it, and especially, although I think it did upset me when I was a kid, but it really does get to me now as an adult and as a mum.
It gets me more now.
Yeah.
Just get me more now.
And, you know, the way that the world is right now, it's not any better than when this movie was originally made. No. And some people would say it's worse.
Yeah.
The way that people are
to each other, and the fact that the people in power are doing the same.
Yeah, just based on because you look different.
Yeah.
It's awful. People are cruel.
Yeah.
And children are cruel. And I think that's another thing that people forget.
Not as cruel as adults.
No,
they are cruel.
But people forget that children can be cruel, and I think it's good that they show that when the kid grabs him and blows in his ear.
Yeah.
You know, and then obviously she has to spank him.
Yeah.
And it's like,
damn right, she should. Yeah. I do not condone violence to children.
Except that one.
Except for that one.
Yeah, that cartoon child.
That one. That child that doesn't exist.
Yeah. And do you know what the funny thing is? And it must have been done deliberate. He has big ears.
Does the kid have
big
ears?
The kid has big ears, and he's ginger. Now, he would have been bullied. No, because he would have been bullied at school for being ginger.
Yeah.
And having big ears, and yet he does the bullying to the elephant.
Well, one of the things is with this film, again, it's going on to a completely different conversation, but Timothy Mouse mentions lots of people with big ears are famous.
Yes.
He means Clark Gable.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah.
Well, Disney.
Yeah.
He has big ears as well.
Yeah.
So it kind of went a lot down the culture of the time, being set at the same time as well. So I think it really was homed in right at the time. And it was made for the time, and unfortunately it still speaks to us now.
Yes, very much so. And I think kids could easily watch that now and see things that are still recognise what's being done in the film, definitely.
So after the film there was a live action.
Oh, yeah.
We normally ask whether we think it was worth making. I think it'd be quite an easy answer. Was it worth making? The answer's no, Jamie.
I know it's no. To be honest, do you know what it is? I don't really remember the story of the remake.
Dumbo's in it.
I think the only thing people remember of that film is that Colin Farrell's in it.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
And it was really weird because it kind of said that...
And that was Tim Burton.
And Disney, like Walt Disney, they based the character on, it was the villain. And it's like...
Yeah.
I just didn't think it knew what it was doing.
No. And probably unfortunately, the disappointing from Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Because it's not like him
it really should not have been released on the cinema.
And I'm sorry, the elephant wasn't cute.
No. And literally, the elephant is in it for like the first 20 minutes, and then it's Colin Farrell's story.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you up to?
Because it's his kids that play with the elephant,
it reminded
and
me
he's
more
like,
of Babe than it did of Dumbo.
yeah,
Randomly.
yeah. I feel that they didn't need to
Colin
remake.
Farrell.
No, they didn't need to do the remake.
No.
Because as well, like, Tim Burton is known for the colour palettes as well that he uses.
Yeah.
And he turned a bright, colourful film into one that looks like his types of films. And
It could have been
that
really
alone
good.
was a mistake.
It could have been really good if it wasn't a family film. If he was making a film where Dumbo could still get drunk.
Mm-hmm.
If he was making a film where, it's still pink elephants on parade because of alcohol.
Yeah.
If he could make a film where animals were being beaten
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
bullying was taken to the extent...
Or maybe go really dark with the whole circus life then. Yeah.
It could have been really strong. But he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
And it becomes a wasted opportunity.
Yeah.
Just before we give it a score, just the last few bits. There was going to be a sequel.
Was
One
there?
of those
Oh.
early 2000s.
Oh my god!
A sneak peek of it was actually put on the 60th anniversary DVD in 2001. And
Have you still got that version?
No.
Oh.
I don't think... Because it was replaced with a better version
Oh,
of the... And
so
then
we'll
that's the
never
one
see
with-
that clip again. Unless
Not
somebody's
on-
put it on YouTube.
Yeah. It was cancelled by John Lasseter, who swept and cancelled a load of these.
Yeah.
Read into what you like about it, but it was his favourite film. So whether or not he cancelled that sequel because he didn't want it to go down the route of the other sequels. But we did get to see all of the backgrounds in Fox and the Hound 2.
Okay.
It was remade into that film, which why on earth they continued
Oh
with
my
that,
god, right,
I've
yeah.
got
I don't think I've watched that
Oh,
properly.
you're so lucky. So yes, time for rating it out of 5.
Well, I've given this a 4.
Do you know what I've put?
Oh.
I wanted to put 4.
Uh-huh.
I did want to put 4, but for me, I had to put 3.5.
I've written 3.5. Yeah, I've written 3.5. I think I would...
Only because I know what's coming. I know what we've got, and I know that I'm going to put other films at 4s, and I'm going to put other ones at 5s, and the ones that I would put at a 4 is not on the same level as Dumbo. But I also think that Dumbo is better than Snow White, which I give a 3.
Yeah, it's definitely better than Snow White and Pinocchio. But yeah, no, I had written down 3.5. So no, I'll stick with the 3.5 because, it's such a shame that the animation didn't get the same. Because what would have looked amazing.
Yeah.
And had an amazing story as well. And it's such a shame that what was going on in the behind the scenes was happening.
Yeah.
Because if the animation had been treated the same as what they were trying to do with Bambi, and what they'd done with Pinocchio, and that would have not only had a beautiful story, it would have looked beautiful.
But then we might not have got the animation that they then started to turn out with Cinderella, and because that's all based on the cheaper animation.
Yeah.
So it did change things. I think it changed things too much in one go. Mm-hmm. And then we start seeing them kind of reining themselves back in again, putting more of that artistic style in. So.
Yeah. But so far...
That's the first time we've matched.
Yeah.
On a score.
And we have agreed that we like...
Yeah.
Yeah, and we like it the same. We've got the same reasons.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Look at that.
I know. This isn't going to happen often.
Okay. What film's next? Bambi?
It is Bambi, yeah. So you'll have to tune in.
Yes. Join us
next
again
week.
Next week.
Yeah, but remember, let us know what you think of Dumbo. And if you have any more facts about the film, like especially with the crows,
Yes,
if anyone from America's listening, or if you're African American and you can give us a bit more insight. If you're,
well, it's one of the we learn.
Yeah.
So we're not just learning about Disney or like from each other or
Yeah.
about the film. Let's learn about the background information for that.
Yeah.
Because that's how we progress as people. And I think if this
Yeah.
film is going to teach us anything,
Mm-hmm.
it's how to progress.
Yeah.
Whether it's on screen
Mm-hmm.
or behind the scenes.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So we want to know if you feel the same or different about, did you think that they were positive characters to the story, or do you think they should have been made into something else? Is there another animal they could have used to, provide that,
Yeah. And for it to be the same level of fun, because obviously you could put an owl in there,
Yeah.
but an owl's not going to be as fun.
No.
Because owls are not fun.
No. And plus they're night animals. They would have
so
been,
they would have been
yeah.
there anyway.
So remember, follow us on Instagram.
And threads.
And threads. I'm looking at
It's like and threads.
Yeah, at the Jamie and Stephen Show, and you can also email us at the Jamie and Stephen Show at outlook.com.
And what I'll do as well is if it's alright with Jamie,
Uh-huh.
I will post the essay that I wrote on Dumbo.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's actually not just a really good film, but it's one of my favourite. Researching it as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of love went into that one. So yeah.
Oh.
And there's bits that we missed.
I know, but we've gone on for.
We have gone on. This is our second longest.
I know.
We're gonna have to wrap up in less than 2 seconds.
All right. Thanks for listening, and remember, tune in next week for Bambi.
See you soon.